All right, so I wanted to make a recording of the Pluto retrograde. Um, and that is happening tomorrow. And right now, the moon is trining Pluto, so I thought that this would be the perfect moment, except for the guy. He just like blows trash around with the leaf blower. He does it like 5 times a day. It's very weird. Anyways, sorry about that sound. But yeah, so I wanted to get on because the moon right now is trining Pluto, and Pluto is officially at 24 degrees of Capricorn. So it will be starting to retrograde tonight into tomorrow. The Pluto retrograde is not normally a huge deal, but right now it is a huge deal because of the fact that all of the major planets have been direct for such a long time. So this is like some pretty major like tugging on a leash, right? That retrograde energy from Pluto is just going to kind of like pull on the whole solar system and pull the energy pretty stagnant and backwards. I'm so sorry about this leaf blower guy. He literally just blows around trash. It 5 times a day, probably. Drives us crazy, honestly. Yeah. And this is like very much the energy we're in, is it not? Like trying really hard to just like keep your voice heard and keep yourself cool amongst the chaos and the noise and the yeah. So Pluto going retrograde is definitely going to be some more of that like slowing down type energy that the Taurus new moon really brought in. There's just so much happening outside right now. It's like painfully ironic and hilarious all at the same time. That like spirit guided me to do this now at this point in time as the moon trines Pluto, and then like all my neighborhood just like blows up and all this sound starts happening. Ridiculous. Anyways, so the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, let's talk about Capricorn energy a little bit, right? Capricorn is the death card. Well, no. Oh my god. Whoa, my brain. That's so crazy. Sorry. Capricorn is just, a very like crumbly old energy. It reminds me of like soil that's been dried out. Yeah, it has a power to it though. Capricorn is definitely a very headstrong, very sturdy sign. The energy of Capricorn is definitely very diplomatic and progressive. It is the cardinal earth sign, so it is something that's going to want to move forward all the time. However, Pluto, the god of the underworld, he is Hades, essentially, going retrograde in this really diplomatic energy, just really has a huge expansion on the idea of death and the ideas around death. This Pluto retrograde is going to be really pulling back significantly what has not been in the foresight of the collective. Everything that is, I'm having poor connection, sorry guys. Everything that has been unseen and has been being cultivated since Mercury went retrograde in Pisces a little bit ago is now going to be like peeled back and slowly revealed. Anything that has to do with that Capricornian power structure is really going to get peeled back right now. So in the collective, we could see a lot of major shifts in the power structures and the way that the power structures fold and unfold. This is going to be really interesting. The rest of this year is going to be really interesting, especially economically, because we have all this like heightened Capricorn energy right now, right? All of the planets are shifting and kind of just sitting at the end of Capricorn right now. And this is our first retrograde planet of the year. It's like gonna be retrograde until October 4th, 2020. So it's retrograde for a pretty long time. So it's very possible that very major life transitions happen for you during this time. It's going to very seriously highlight control issues, where you're giving power and where you are taking power, because remember, we're not always the victim. And sometimes Pluto really draws the fact that you have not been kind to people. If you are somebody who struggles with kindness, Pluto retrograde is going to very seriously show you why that's not okay. The best way to kind of channel through this, work the best way through this Pluto retrograde energy is to act as morally and ethically and as within your highest self as you can. So it's important to kind of look at your own chart and see what house your natal Pluto is sitting in. And then also to look at what house you have Capricorn in. Those are the areas of your life that are going to be most affected. Kindness and leaning into, like, taking the more passive Libra, Piscean route out of this is honestly just the best way to manage this energy. Being kind will go so far right now, and we'll see that happen in the collective. And I think that is something that's really beautiful that will come out of this energy, is I think that the collective is really learning how to love each other again, under all of this harsh restriction, because the restriction is getting pretty intense, and the restriction of things is only going to continue to be intense for the rest of the year. I really hate to say that, but it's true. Until next year, we're not really going to see a lift on this like intense, restrictive energy. The Pluto retrograde will be squaring Mercury throughout its transit, so this is really interesting. They've been doing this square for a little while now, and Jupiter is conjunct the pair as well. Well, Jupiter's sitting right next to Pluto, and then they're both squaring Mercury. So Jupiter's sitting there expanding this Plutonian underworld energy, right? Jupiter's the expanding planet, so he's going to take everything and make everything really big and really lavish. So fear right now is being very much so utilized in ways to control. The fear is high, very high, and you have to try your hardest to not live in that fear-based state. Mercury also rules the lungs, and how in and air flows out of your body, and Mercury squaring the expansive planet of Jupiter and the lord of the underworld Pluto is just like, of course we have a respiratory illness that's plaguing us all. So that's just one of those astrology things. It's just a little too funny. As Pluto retrogrades next to Jupiter, we're going to see some very interesting power shifts amongst government systems and the way that things are run. Anywhere in your own personal life that you're seeing repeating themes of power struggles. So if you're in a toxic relationship with somebody that feels all too familiar, get the heck out of that now. This Pluto retrograde is coming to show us where we are being too controlling and where we're giving too much control away. And it's going to seriously highlight those things so that we can just destroy those things. The best way out of this is through spiritual development. Pluto retrograde is all about digging deep and really peeling back the layers of your life and who you are. So when you're peeling those things back, you might find some things about yourself that aren't necessarily within your highest good. And those things are the things that you can now remove because of the Pluto retrograde. So yeah, it's a couple of months. It's 5 months long, and it's going to be a really interesting transit. Long distance travel is going to be heavily impacted by the square to Mercury, and it already is impacted. So it just is going to continue. Yeah, this is crazy, but that's why I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm giving you guys the energy, and I want everybody to know what's going on, and that, even though things seem kind of crazy right now, if we can really just focus on our truest, highest self and really develop spiritually right now, coming out of this whole thing is going to be just the greatest. I wanted to pull a couple cards. For the Pluto energy. And then so now I've had a couple people dipping in and out. I know that it's kind of late on the East Coast. So I kind of wasn't expecting anyone to even show up, but I just like filming things live. It's nice, it's authentic, kind of in a very inauthentic kind of way, but yeah. So if any of you guys that are dipping in and out have any questions, or you're curious about anything at all, or you want a card read, I'm just hanging out, so you can definitely hit me up and I'll pull a card. Ask a question while I'm live. Let's do it. But yeah, so let me just shuffle a little bit. The 10 of Coins just popped out and landed I don't know if anybody just saw that happen, but it was pretty cool. Yeah. We have to sit and wait right now, because this is a growing period, a going within period, a period where things are shocking and rerouting and reworking our entire existence, right? And the 10 of Coins popping out, I just feel like I keep getting these messages that everything is going to be so remarkably okay. And it just doesn't reflect that right now. because everything is going under the radar, everything is going unseen. And that's the Pluto retrograde should be really interesting to see how things peel away and see what comes out and where we go next, right? Because obviously things can't go back to the way they were. That's just not how. It's just not how things work. It's just not how the energy's gonna work. This is a new world, baby. And I've been saying it for a long time. I watched the tunnel come, we went through it, and we're still in it. We're in the tunnel, you know? We're watching everything like fly by us. It's crazy. But the light at the end of the tunnel is there. It really is. I mean, look at that. So I know shit feels like this now, but that's because we've been doing a whole lot of this for the past couple of years, right? I know a lot of the people that I know, coworkers and whatnot, they're all building their own businesses and creating a life for themselves that is totally unique and different from most of the things that we've seen happen before. So the moon. Spirit, how do we move through this retrograde? Okay, so the moon popped out. It's just, again, this light at the tunnel energy. We're going through a vortex. It's a void. We're transforming. And we have to, if you're somebody who has any notion that you are a light worker or a healer or any of that, hey Tiff, now is your time. It's really weird that you just joined right now. It's late and I lose connection. It's really weird that you just joined right now. This message is totally for you, Tiffany. Because now is when we need you the most. Your light workers like you we're the people that are going to get the collective through this dark tunnel, right? And that's why if you feel any inkling in your soul that you are somebody who is here to heal and here to give, this is your time. This is your time to step up and to do it and to be here for the collective, because shit does not look cool. And if you're here and you're here to help people, now is the time to step up and help people in any way that you can. The Ace of Swords is how we move through this energy. We have to be clear. We have to be concise. We have to be honest and in our highest integrity. We have to embody angelicness. All of it. We have to, light and lift. Now is not the time to be heavy. And that's why I said enjoy that Taurus moon. Because it's time to fly now. And we have to shoot ourselves out of this tunnel and get to the other side before I lose my damn mind. Wonderful. Well, I really do like filming these things live. It's weird. Just like I can just blurt it out and it goes out into the ether and just exists. Wild that technology has that. And we just have all this like Saturn moving in, and then it's going to be retrograding back out of and then going back into Aquarius, and it's like basically the peak of the age of Aquarius, and this is how technology is how I'm getting this information out to you guys. It's amazing. Anyways, I just wanted to do this now while my guys were telling me. So I hope that you guys all enjoy this, and I hope that you can find lots of peace and quiet in these times of chaos.